Hi, I'm Jacques, and this is 10 Twinkish with David van Driessen, the CTO of 4Piece with headquarters in Ghent. And we're talking printing industry again, so welcome. Hi, David. Welcome again to a new episode of 10 Twinkish. But today we're actually going to talk a little bit about calling in an expert, right? So, but first
Correct.
of all, before we get into this, maybe just give us a little introduction on yourself and on your company, 4Piece.
Sure. As you said, my name is David. I'm the CTO of 4Piece, and 4Piece is a value-added software distributor and integrator. I'm also at the moment executive director of the Gantois Group, which means I've been involved in PDF and automation and standardization for over the last 25 years, I think. Yeah.
Wow, impressive. Yeah. So should I call you David or executive director? No, just kidding.
David will be fine.
Okay, David will do. David will do. Well, anyway, like we always have in this episode of 10 Twinkish, here again, we have asked you to bring along like a small, short video clip on the topic. Calling in an expert, do you even need one or do you do it yourself? But I propose that we have a look at the video clip and then we can dig into it a little deeper.
You have a problem. The good news is, once you know you have a problem, you can easily fix it. You call your experts, they come in, solve the problem, and you can get on with life. Or is it really a good idea to completely rely on external experts? Are they really going to understand what's going on in your business? Perhaps it's better to use your own people, those you can trust. Of course, with this web-to-print system you have, and the MIS, and the RIPs for the different printing devices, and PDF and the PDF standards, there is a lot of ground to cover for your people. Can they really be an expert in all of these different things? This is one scenario where a mixed approach is almost certainly the best way to handle things. Yes, you should use external experts, but you also need your internal people to complement them. So, do you need to understand the black magic involved in creating a pre-flight profile or a custom report template? No. You can find an expert for that. But you do need to understand what the principles behind pre-flight are and what kind of reports can be created, because that is going to affect your relationship with your customer. So yes, use external experts, but make sure that people in your company have a high-level view on what this expert is going to do, so they can help them to go in the strategic direction that is important for your company.
When is the right time for a printer to call in some external help?
Probably sooner than you do today. I find that very strange, but if your shoulder hurts, then you're going to go to a doctor, and most people will do that relatively quickly. You're not going to wait 6 months or a year. When you look at this in a business context, we tend to struggle along for quite a long time before we reach out and get help. Bringing in an expert doesn't mean that everything needs to change or that you, to keep with the medical comparison, that you need to go and have a full body scan immediately. You can just go to an expert, try to look at an immediate problem and see what the possibilities are. And I think that is something that companies should do quicker than they do today.
What is the extra value an external consultant can bring to the table?
I really like the term external expert because it identifies what I think are the two value points. The first thing is that it is someone who is external. He's outside your company, and that means that their vantage point is almost certainly going to be completely different than your own. It is always easier to spot the problems in someone else's organization than it is in your own organization. That's how it is. Yeah? And then next to that, the expert part is of course important as well. Even if you have technical people in your company, you probably don't have technical people who spend 100% of their time thinking about pre-flight, quality control, web to print, automation, you name it. An external expert, that is probably what they do. They think about this all the time, and they think about it and refer what they see in different companies, and the experiences that they see in different companies can help what happens in your company. So yeah, I think those are the two main values in there.
Isn't it going to be much more expensive?
It's not going to be for free. That should be obvious. I think if you bring in expertise, then that needs to be paid for. If you bring in quality expertise, again, quality is paid for. When this topic comes up with printers, I sometimes ask them whether they are going to print my business cards for free. And unfortunately, so far, the answer is negative. Yeah? And that's how it should be, to be honest. What you need to ask yourself is, if I don't do this, how much efficiency, how much money do I leave on the table by not bringing in someone external and by not trying to solve the problems that we're running into? Yeah? So, of course, you need to look at balance and return on investment. That is important. And you need to find an expert that you feel happy with and that you can trust. But I think if you look at good advice, the return on investment is always there, whether it's immediate or in the long term.
Do you only work for big printers? Who can afford this?
Strangely enough, a lot of the most influential projects that we do with people are relatively small, because if you focus on a real pain point and you can solve that, then that can have a really big effect on an organization. So what you see is that sometimes we just come in and we do a few hours of training or a few days of training on software that they already have, and that allows them to be much more efficient. Or you work with them on creating a pre-flight report that is easier to understand for their clients, which then kind of redefines the relationship you have with those clients. So when you're thinking about a project that you do with an external expert, you shouldn't always think that the whole company is going to change. It can be really small things, low-hanging fruit. And so, no, I don't think that this is only for bigger organizations. I think the impact can be just as profound and just as affordable for smaller printers. Absolutely.
Right, David. So yeah, very interesting that you say this, because printing plants, print shops are often very secretive, aren't they? And closed environments. So yeah, maybe it's a big plus when you get like someone very experienced who has seen a lot to get them in and avoid the same traps that other ones maybe have stepped into, right? So yeah. So anyway, David, thank you for your great insights. Obviously, the topic was Colin the Expert. I can surely say here that we have one here, not only from the Gantt Work Group, but I think all the team with 4Ps. So if anyone is looking into this topic too and maybe get an expert, absolutely check out your contact details in our web page, and they can contact you or 4Ps for that matter. So, and you guys, thank you for watching again, and I'll hope I'll catch you in the next one. See you then. Bye.